Hey legends, I hope you're all fantastic. I've got firmware 9 beta installed on my FM3 here in my hotel room. I actually just got back from playing a gig. As you can see, I've still got the remnants of my stage makeup on, but I have my 1979 ES335 in my hands, and I've got the 1959 SLP treble, so the Plexi reissue model, dialed up. Stock settings, have not touched that. I've got my free IR at the usual settings and a little bit of the large room reverb happening on there. I just turned the mix down a little bit on there. Kind of sounds like a Gibson plugged into a Marshall in there. There's some cool updates in this. With the modeling, there are updates to the cathode follower algorithm and the phase inverter algorithm in there. And if you know your Marshall topologies and you kind of know your Marshall lore, so to speak, oh, that's actually a good pun in there, but LORE, basically, you know, the phase inverter in a Plexi getting raw dogged at all times is a big part of that iconic sound. And if you'd like to learn more about that, I'll link to an episode of the Gear Podcast where we're talking to the Marshall Whisperer himself, Jason Tong from Headfirst Amps. He kind of explains the phase inverter cathode follower thing that's happening, but the modeling's been updated in the FM3. It brings it in line with the FM9, which has got an update, and the Axe FX3, which is pretty rad. I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of my favorite, Marshall adjacent sounds in here because they're sounding pretty glorious. There's also two new Dynacabs, which we will hear based on the 5153 Stealth cabs, which I think use the EVH speakers or the G12 Heritage. Check the release notes in there, kids. It's 11:15 at night here, so I'm just holding on for dear life and going to be playing some greasy riffs with the Plexi thing, especially the reissue one. Basically, I just like turning the gain up a bit and the bass down a bit on here. It was pretty cool recently. Got to open for the maestro Yngwie Malmsteen, and I got to look at Yngwie's amps when Yngwie wasn't around, and reissued Plexi. Volume, which is just gain here all the way up, bass turned down, everything else pretty stock. So yeah, this is a good rock sound. I don't think you need that much else out of your life. And of course, with a boost and a bit of delay, it's pretty glorious. I will remind everybody watching this, my blocks library is linked in the video description, so you can get these panning 2290 settings in there. You can get a bunch of my amps, various effects in there. That's all the shilling I'm going to be doing for the rest of this video. Let's hear some more amps. Let's hear we got to hear the JCM 800 with the updated settings in there. So I've already got a boost on this one. Maybe I'll just turn that off for a second. But Brit 800 2203 high, easily in my top 3 amps in the Fractal ecosystem at the moment. You need a good JCM 800 in your life. And we have to play this riff, right? So the Marshalls or anything Marshall derivative obviously sound fantastic. If you like your kind of edge breakup Fender style amps as well. I wish I had a Strat here with me to do some of that stuff. Maybe I'll do it when the full firmware drops. But let's hear the 5153 Stealth Red with my free IR. Then we'll hear the 2 new Dynacabs. I've just dialed in some blends that I really like with them. They definitely sound different to one another and very different to this IR. But first, some chunky Drop D 335. I'd certainly encourage you to play around with those Dynacabs and, blending a dynamic and a ribbon, or the dynamic and the condenser mic choices on there with those cabs. There's some really fun tones to be had. I really like the 4x12 Stealth cab in there. That's probably, look, if it's not my favorite Dynacab for dirty sounds at the moment, it would be in the top 2 with the oversized Boogie one in there. For kind of crunch stuff as well, it's fairly nice as well. I really still like that 1960 TV cab that is in the Dynacab selection. So there's a lot of fun to be had on here. The beta feels pretty stable at the moment, but as always, use it at your own risk. You can always wait for the full release to drop and then have a bunch of fun with it there. To all my American friends and followers, family over there happy 4th of July as well. And, you know, I don't have a Strat with me, which I love pairing with the Deluxe Reverb, but I might just play you all out. Deluxe Verb vibrato, same stuff going on, just turn the bass down a bit, treble up. And this 335 sounds pretty sweet on the neck pickup for some kind of jangly stuff. So I'll just play you all out. Again, my blocks, my IR is linked in the video description, along with the music that I make with my band Ragdoll and my Patreon. Go and try this firmware and have some fun and make some glorious guitar noises. I will see you all next time.